governing party will turn 111 years old on Sunday, and celebrations are in full swing. Several activities have been held today ahead of this weekend's main event. ANC Secretary General Fikile Mbalula is hosting an economic dialogue focusing on economic reforms and energy security. Our senior reporter Siphamandla Goge is following that story and joins us now for more. Siphamandla, what resolutions does the ANC have ahead of its January 8th statement?
A number of them really, but the conclusion of the 55th National Conference of the ANC reaffirmed their position in the resolution on step-aside. Unfortunately, for those who were pushing for the step-aside resolution to go, they did not win the day. The step-aside resolution of the ANC will stay. It will be enhanced so that it is applied effectively. There had been concerns in the past that it is used selectively to purge and punish political opponents of those who are in power. But the 55th National Conference of the ANC resolved that the step-aside resolution will stay. On issues of economic transformation, the party resolved that they need to move with speed and agency in making changes in the country's economy. As to how they plan to do that, because the economy is not growing, the economy is not serving the majority of the population, which is African and black, well, there is no answer really for that. For many years, successive ANC economic policies have dismally failed to transform the lives of South Africans. The energy crisis that is ongoing as we speak continues to be a headache and a thorny issue for the governing African National Congress. Earlier on, I spoke to the Deputy President of the ANC, Paul Mashatile, who said to me, if they do not address the energy crisis, they will have a tough time campaigning for the 2024 general elections. So where we are at the moment, we are waiting for the Secretary General of the ANC, Mr. Fikile Mbalula, to come and address the media on the resolutions that were adopted by the conference, which adjourned at the early hours of the morning. It's been a jam-packed political day for ANC leaders that have been spread across the province of the Free State, addressing many rallies. About an hour ago, the president of the ANC, Mr. Cyril Matamela Ramaphosa, addressed a mini rally in Botshabelo, where Mr. Mbalula is originally from. Residents there complained about same issues, lack of basic services, the issue of sanitation. It's one of the areas, Botshabelo, that continues to use and rely on bucket system. The ANC-led government has failed to eradicate the bucket system in that area. Issues of water, roads that are not fixed, and the issue of unemployment featured strongly when the president of the ANC addressed that gathering over there. And since arriving in the Free State in preparation for the January 8th statement celebrations, the focus has been on unity and renewal. That is the resolution of the ANC to say for the next term for this newly elected leadership, they have to focus on unity and renewal of the ANC. Let's take a listen to their president, Mr. Cyril Ramaphosa.
The conclusion was great, and the inputs and the suggestions and recommendations and the resolutions were on issues that really touched the lives of our people. They were detailed, they were well informed and well reasoned proposals and recommendations and resolutions. So I would say that the ANC is well geared, well prepared to take the lives of our people further and better. All that remains now is the action, the implementation, which we are now going to focus on. We will focus on it because the ANC is renewing itself. And once the ANC renews itself, unites itself, it really becomes a formidable force, a mighty force that it has always been. And so that's exactly what we're going to be focusing on. We emerge out of this conference feeling a sense of great renewal, more united than we've been, even in the last conference, and with everyone having a sense that we must now accept and work with the leadership that has been elected. So everybody is going to coalesce around this leadership as we tackle the many challenges that lie ahead. So we are really pleased. I think we're starting the year off extremely well. There's a lot of positivity, and the decisions that we've taken are going to give a lot of hope to our people And no doubt they are going to be looking for action. And from a government point of view, we are getting geared up for real action. And we will outline many of the things at the State of the Nation.
Siphamandla, the leadership of the ANC has been calling for both unity and renewal for a number of years now. Both concepts seem to be relatively elusive if one looks at those repeated calls. Newly elected Deputy President of the party, Paul Mashatile, what's his take on the matter?
He says there is no choice for the next 10 years, according to him. Yes, you heard correctly. 10 years, Paul Mashatile says the ANC will be focusing on unity and renewal. I asked him, how are they going to achieve that? Because for the past term, they failed to achieve that. In terms of the report, the entire NEC of the ANC, the previous one, failed on the mandate and the mission that it was given to renew and unite the ANC. The 2017 Nasrec conference was clear. It gave them a mandate to renew and unite the party. They failed. Instead, there are deep divisions right now in the ANC compared to the past. If you look at the structures of the ANC in some provinces, including this one of the Free State, by the way, where we are, it's hosting these January 8 celebrations, but it's a deeply divided province of the ANC. Some branches and structures of the party are not functioning. The basic unit of the ANC in the Free State, which is the branches, they are not functioning. Their president, Mr. Cyril Ramaphosa, is considered to that fact. The province has been unable to convene its eagerly awaited provincial conference together with the Western Cape. There are deep divisions in the ANC in this province of the Free State, but nationally the ANC is struggling. So Paul Mashatile, who is the deputy president of the ANC, is adamant that no matter what it takes, they have to get it right, the issue of unity and renewal. He says it's a work in progress and they will need to focus on that for the next 10 years. Listen to him.
We are not going to do things just purely because there's an election coming in 2024. We want to make sure that our people get a better life now. If the problem is energy now, let's deal with it now. If it's water, let's deal with it now. You'll see that most of our resolutions are focusing on those things. Infrastructure. Let's make sure that we fix the roads, we deal with infrastructure, we look at schools, all these issues that really are at the heart of affecting people's lives. That's going to be our preoccupation. Our focus over the next 10 years is on the renewal of the African National Congress as an organization that must lead a socio-economic transformation in this country. Without a strong ANC, you can't hope for any better changes in this country. So you must strengthen the ANC right from branches, right up to the National Executive Committee, because only a strong ANC will be able to lead a successful transformation in this country.
Siphamandla, with 2024's general elections just a year away, we can expect to see the ANC pulling up their socks to some degree as they try and woo voters. Is there already a sense of this among party leadership as they speak at this weekend's event?
Indeed, that's their main focus right now. It doesn't matter which leader of the ANC you speak to, they will all tell you that their main focus now is about the 2024 general elections. This is a party that is facing an electoral decline. It's a party that is being deserted by voters who are sick and tired of waiting for promises that have not been kept. Here in the Free State alone, the ANC has been governing this province. They have been having an uninterrupted run and mandate, political authority and electoral mandate to govern this province of the Free State. But the only metro in the Free State, which is Mangaung, is under administration, plagued by service delivery challenges the issue of refuse collection or non-collection of refuse, the issue of the bucket system, toilets, sanitation, water, pothole. You go across Bloemfontein, it's in a state of disarray and complete shame. And the ANC leaders in this province and nationally, they do concede that they've been failing to govern properly here in this province and in this metro. Across the country, be it in the northwest, you go to the Eastern Cape, KwaZulu-Natal, Gauteng, they've been losing metros. So they are preoccupied with the 2024 general election, but nothing much will come out of this recently concluded 55th National Conference of the ANC and the January 8th statement this coming Sunday, because it's just the celebrations. It's the ANC celebrating its birthday. Whether that will translate into them giving marching orders to their deployees to government to fast-track service delivery, it remains to be seen. The question is, why have they not been doing it since 1994? So the issue right now for the ANC is to retain power. They are aware that they are losing electoral support, and Nomvula Mokonyane, who is the Deputy Secretary General of the ANC, telling me that come Sunday, their statement, which is a statement of the National Executive Committee that will be delivered by the President of the ANC, will focus on issues of service delivery, unity and renewal of the ANC. As I'm doing this live interview, we expect that the National Executive Committee meeting of the ANC should get underway around 6 p.m. or 7 p.m., whereby they will be finalizing that NEC statement that will be delivered by their president on Sunday. Let's take a listen to what Nomvula Mokonyane said about the upcoming celebrations.
This is a precursor to the coming general elections. It will be about changing the lives of our people, uniting the African National Congress, and most importantly, galvanizing youth formations and young people of our country behind the ANC.
You say changing the lives of South Africans. You have had a chance since 1994 to do so here in Bloemfontein, where we are, where the ANC was basically formed. The situation is not looking good. Everything under the ANC has collapsed.
It never ends. Changing doesn't actually end. It's ongoing. Of course, there are trials and errors. We'll continue to deal with them. We're the first to acknowledge that we have had challenges. And it's only the ANC that has acknowledged its own challenges and also saying this is how we can deal with those issues. Issues of energy, issues of gender-based violence, issues of access to quality education are things that we are also going to be looking at.
I was about to ask you that question, that when you said you were ready to govern, is this the kind of society that you wanted to lead and govern as the ANC? A society plagued by violent crime, rampant corruption, gender-based violence, femicide, blackouts every day. As we speak, we're on stage 4 load shedding. South Africans are tired.
Access to services have been designed for a few in this country. Stretching it beyond what was planned does actually affect the sustainability. Secondly, the absence of a mixed energy intervention. It's one of the things that even the conference said, let's look at energy security. So what we have done, a lot has been done, of course, and we do admit that a lot can still be done. So it is the ANC that admits, and we will never tire. Our struggle is very protracted. Where we make mistakes, we do also commit to have turnaround interventions, and we have done it in many places.
Siphamandla, is there any talk of disciplining Secretary General Fikile Mbalula for speaking out of turn about a possible cabinet reshuffle? There seems to be quite a bit of unhappiness about that.
I understand that some alliance partners, particularly the South African Communist Party, are not pleased with Mr. Mbalula's utterances since the conclusion of the first leg of the 55th National Conference in December. I personally asked him whether the president was considering reshuffling his cabinet. That question was prompted by the fact that Mr. Mbalula himself will be resigning as the transport minister. His position at Luthuli House of the Secretary General is permanent, and also you have a vacancy that was created by the departure of former Minister Ayanda Dlodlo, and in the mix you have the Didi Mabuza conundrum. Didi Mabuza remains the Deputy President of the Republic. He was not re-elected into top leadership structures of the ANC. You've got Mashatile, who's the Deputy President of the ANC. Preferably, the ANC will usually ask that its president and deputy president are deployed to cabinet. Now, with Paul Mashatile not in the executive for now, Didi Mabuza being there. There have been talks of that looming cabinet reshuffle. Also the fact that some of the cabinet ministers did not make it back to the National Executive Committee of the ANC. There are new NEC members that may need to be deployed. Mr. Mbalula has been clear that if President Ramaphosa is not thinking about the cabinet reshuffle, he will be reckless. Mr. Mbalula saying he expects that in the next 2 weeks the leadership of the ANC would have discussed the issue of the cabinet reconfiguration, which is a prerogative of the president, by the way. So the expectation has been that in the next 2 weeks or so there will be some sort of finality in this matter. Earlier on I asked Paul Mashatile whether he has heard anything from the president asking him to join government. He said not yet, but the matter will be finalized soon. Alliance partners and the SACP are not happy with not being consulted and with public utterances being made here. And I see Pule Mabe here, who's the spokesperson of the ANC and the NEC member, arriving. Maybe allow me just to get a quick one from Pule Mabe. Pule Mabe, we are live on ANC. Thank you very much for your time. Talk to us about what will happen moving forward. The NEC meeting starting this evening, and how are things going to pan out moving forward?
Well, this is what is going to happen. The Secretary General is expected to brief members of the media on the conclusion of the 55th National Conference, which only ended this morning. He will also go on to deal with some of the key resolutions that were taken by the 55th National Conference. Once we are done with the briefing, we will then go into the National Executive Committee meeting. At the meeting, because it's a special NEC really, at the meeting we are expected to reflect on the January 8 statement. You would also know that many other members of the National Executive Committee are meeting for the first time. So it's also a moment for us to know one another and all of that, even before we go into induction. So the program for today, really, Siphamandla, is to deal with the program of January 8. To conclude, because the statement that the president is going to be presenting on Sunday, it's really a statement of the National Executive Committee.
There seems to be unhappiness with some members of the alliance, the SACP, about utterances made by the Secretary General on the issue of the looming cabinet reshuffle. They say it cannot be discussed publicly without consulting alliance partners first.
Well, I don't remember the Secretary General citing names. A question was put forward to the Secretary General on whether there's going to be a reshuffle and all of that. And the Secretary General, in answering that question, did attribute to the fact that there is a new leadership of the ANC that has been elected in Mangaung. You have got to rationalize cabinet to reflect that. Of course, when you go, and we can assure members of the alliance, that when you enter that space to ultimately decide on how you rationalize what you do and all of that, alliance partners will never be left behind. They're an integral part of decisions of the African National Congress as it deals with deployments, how we run government and all of that. And we appreciate the role that the alliance has played throughout in boosting and strengthening the work of the African National Congress.
Very briefly, we are out of time. The issue of co-opting some members to the NEC, the national question of the minority and the alliance partners, has that been concluded?
Well, the NEC has not even said, as the NEC in its full complement, we have not even done an assessment. How do you start an agenda of the meeting with co-option when there was a democratic process that produced the leadership? What we have now is a choice of the members of the ANC. Now, what we now need to do is to do an assessment. I mean, we don't have anyone waiting on the sidelines for co-option, because everyone who's a member of the ANC, black and white, for as long as the members of the ANC in good standing have themselves participated in this democratic process, that we are sitting with the outcome that we have not done an assessment to establish the weaknesses, the strength, the representation across racial groups and all of that. That will only be done in the third, fourth. I mean, having served this NEC for more than once, I can tell you now, there is no National Executive Committee whose first item on the agenda is co-option. How do you do that?
Thank you very much for your time, Pule Mabe.
Okay.
Pule Mabe is an NEC member of the ANC who continues to be the spokesperson of the ANC. Fikile Mbalula, the Secretary General of the ANC, said he will decide what happens to Pule Mabe, but for now, he is the spokesperson of the ANC.
Thank you very much. Siphamandla Goge coming to us there from Mangaung, where the ANC is set to celebrate its 111th birthday this weekend.